Ignite Revolution, a blueprint for activists ready to transform the world. The world stands at a crossroads, where complacency meets crisis, and inertia collides with opportunity. Yet, history proves that profound change begins with ordinary people daring to act. Whether you're rallying against injustice, fighting for environmental preservation, or demanding equity, your voice matters, and your actions can reshape reality. This guide is designed for those who refuse to sit idly while systemic failures deepen. It's for the dreamers who see solutions in chaos, the fighters who understand that progress demands sacrifice, and the leaders who know that momentum grows when communities unite. Here, we'll dismantle the myths around activism, equip you with actionable strategies, and show you how to turn outrage into outcomes. Understanding power, the foundation of effective activism. To incite change, you must first confront the forces that resist it. Power isn't abstract, it lives in policies, institutions, and the silent consent of the masses. Systems of inequality thrive because they are protected by laws, upheld by corporations, and normalized through culture. Recognizing these structures is the first step toward dismantling them. Power operates invisibly, often disguised as the way things have always been. This normalization allows exploitation, discrimination, and environmental destruction to persist unchecked. But awareness is a weapon. When you name the problem, you expose its fragility. Study how wealth is concentrated, how laws favor the privileged, and how propaganda shapes public opinion. Knowledge transforms passivity into purpose. Analyze institutional bias. Look beyond surface-level issues to uncover deeper patterns of exclusion, whether in healthcare access, education funding, or policing practices. Map stakeholders. Identify who benefits from the status quo and who suffers under it. Targeting those with influence increases your leverage. Understand complicity. Many powerful entities profit from oppressive systems. Holding them accountable requires exposing their roles in perpetuating harm. Beyond symbolism, building coalitions that deliver results. Solo acts of protest may inspire, but lasting change requires collective strength. Movements grow when diverse groups align behind common goals. However, coalition building isn't just about numbers, it's about trust, mutual respect, and shared vision. Effective alliances prioritize inclusivity. Marginalized communities bear the brunt of crises, yet they are often excluded from decision-making processes. By centering their voices, movements gain legitimacy and authenticity. Partner with grassroots organizations, community leaders, and experts who understand the nuances of the issue at hand. Fostering unity without uniformity. Coalitions succeed when differences are seen as assets, not obstacles. Diverse perspectives challenge assumptions and reveal blind spots. For example, a campaign against police brutality gains strength when Black-led organizations collaborate with immigrant advocates, LGBTQ+ groups, and environmental activists, all facing state violence in different forms. Critically, avoid tokenism. True solidarity means ceding space, not claiming credit. Listen actively, share resources equitably, and acknowledge which group holds primary authority. If your movement's goal is housing reform, amplify the voices of homeless advocacy groups rather than positioning yourselves as their spokespersons. Messaging that moves mountains. Strategic communication in action. Words shape perceptions, and perceptions drive action. In today's fragmented information landscape, crafting messages that cut through noise is essential. Your language must resonate emotionally, simplify complexity, and mobilize urgency without alienating potential supporters. Storytelling is the heart of persuasive communication. Share personal narratives that humanize data. Instead of stating climate change affects millions, describe a farmer whose crops failed due to drought or a family displaced by rising seas. These stories spark empathy and demand accountability. Leverage visual impact. Infographics, videos, and art make complex ideas accessible. Platforms like Instagram and TikTok allow viral reach to younger audiences. Use plain language. Jargon creates distance. Speak clearly so everyone, from students to seniors, can grasp your message. Create calls to action. Tell people precisely what to do next. Sign this petition or attend our town hall turns passive viewers into active participants. Direct action. From protests to civil disobedience, no strategy replaces the power of visible resistance. Protests, strikes, and demonstrations force authorities to reckon with public dissent. But success depends on preparation, legality, and tactical precision. Plan meticulously before taking to the streets. Choose locations that maximize visibility and minimize risk. Secure permits where required, and prepare contingency plans for arrests or dispersals. Equip yourself with knowledge of nonviolent tactics, de-escalation techniques, and medical aid supplies. The ethics of civil disobedience, intentional lawbreaking for moral purposes, is a potent tool, but it carries risks. History shows that movements like the civil rights marches succeeded because participants remained disciplined, focused on their cause, and respected the rule of law even as they challenged unjust statutes. Before engaging in illegal activities, weigh the consequences. Will your arrest draw attention to your cause? Could it backfire by giving opponents a narrative to exploit? Consult legal advisors, document every step, and ensure that any disruption is proportionate to the injustice being protested. Innovating resistance. Technology and tactics for modern activism. Digital tools offer unprecedented opportunities to organize, educate, and disrupt. Social media amplifies messages globally. Encrypted apps protect communications. Blockchain enables transparent fundraising. Yet innovation also demands vigilance. Technological advancements can be co-opted by authoritarian regimes or used to suppress dissent. Adopt hybrid approaches that blend offline and online engagement. While virtual petitions and hashtags raise awareness, physical presence builds community bonds. Use platforms like Twitter/X to live tweet protests, YouTube to archive footage, and podcasts to discuss policy changes. Always verify sources to combat misinformation and maintain credibility. Secure your digital footprint. Use end-to-end encryption for sensitive conversations and anonymity tools to avoid surveillance. Harness crowdfunding. Platforms like GoFundMe or Kickstarter help fund legal fees, printing materials, or travel costs for activists. Utilize open-source software. Tools like Miro for brainstorming, Canva for design, or Signal for secure messaging empower small teams with limited budgets. Resilience in motion. Sustaining momentum through adversity. Activism is a marathon, not a sprint. Burnout looms when energy outpaces endurance. Cultivate resilience by prioritizing self-care, setting realistic expectations, and celebrating incremental victories. Recognize that setbacks are inevitable. Laws will be stalled, funds will dwindle, and allies may falter. Prepare mentally by developing contingency plans and diversifying your base. If one tactic fails, pivot quickly, but never abandon the core mission. Protecting mental health amidst chaos. Constant exposure to trauma, especially in movements addressing violence or disaster, takes a toll. Establish emotional boundaries by scheduling regular downtime and seeking professional support when needed. Build peer networks where members can process stress collectively. Studies show that activists who practice mindfulness report higher levels of clarity and perseverance. Techniques like meditation, journaling, or nature walks recharge depleted spirits. Remember, your well-being fuels your ability to fight for others. Amplifying voices, centering marginalized perspectives. True change cannot occur without elevating those most impacted by the issues you champion. Too often, activist spaces become echo chambers for privileged voices. To correct this, adopt frameworks that prioritize representation, accessibility, and equity. Listening is the foundation of meaningful participation. Before speaking, ask, who is typically excluded from these discussions? What barriers prevent them from contributing? Offer accommodations like sign language interpreters, childcare, or flexible meeting times to lower participation thresholds. Practice radical transparency. Disclose your own privileges and biases openly. Acknowledge when mistakes happen and commit to learning from them. Prioritize intersectionality. Address overlapping oppressions, such as race, gender, class, and disability, to craft holistic solutions. Delegate leadership. Allow those most affected to lead initiatives. You can provide logistical support, but never assume ownership of their struggles. Globally connected. Lessons from transnational movements. Environmental degradation, economic disparity, and political repression transcend borders. Global movements prove that localized efforts can spark worldwide revolutions. Learn from successful international collaborations to strengthen your own campaigns. For instance, the hashtag Fridays for Future climate strikes originated in Sweden but grew into a global phenomenon. Similarly, the Arab Spring showed how decentralized coordination via social media could ignite mass uprisings across continents. Adapt these models by leveraging global networks, sharing best practices, and advocating for universal standards like human rights or emissions targets. Cross-border solidarity in practice. Support international causes by partnering with global NGOs, attending virtual summits, or raising funds for overseas projects. However, remain mindful of cultural contexts. What works in one region may not apply elsewhere. Collaborate respectfully, avoiding paternalistic attitudes or imposing foreign agendas. Also, recognize that globalization brings both challenges and opportunities. Climate disasters, refugee crises, and pandemics require coordinated responses. Align your movement with global treaties, scientific consensus, and intergovernmental agreements to bolster credibility and effectiveness. The future is now. Taking immediate action. You've studied the theories, dissected the strategies, and absorbed the lessons of past movements. Now is the moment to act, not tomorrow, not after the next election, but today. Every hour wasted is a life denied justice, a planet suffocated by pollution, or a system entrenched in corruption. Begin with small, tangible steps. Join a local chapter, attend a council meeting, or volunteer for a community project. Amplify voices by retweeting, donating, or mentoring new activists. Remember, the greatest revolutions began with a single person refusing to look away. Your courage doesn't have to be loud to matter. It simply has to be consistent. Stay relentless, stay informed, and above all, stay united. The world won't change unless you decide it must.